Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And we have the visor on today, so you know we're talking serious today. We have a big one for everybody. And so we're going to go back in time and we are going to discuss the sword and shield, you got it, era. And now we're going to break it down of like why a lot of people are fucking with sword and shield. Now, these Vaporeon boxes, I'm telling you, are one of the best things out of the sword and shield era. That even right now, a lot of people are buying these for like the low 200s, 250s, and trying to pop any of these in a 10. Because if you can grade either one of these at 10, you're looking at like $700 for the PSA 10. So a lot of people are buying these for 200, taking the risk, grading these two cards, and seeing what happens. So that's becoming a popular play a lot of people are doing in this market. Well, boxes are just kind of like crazy right now. But anyway, I want to kind of continue to talk about some of these other sets too. I think prismatic right now is an incredible buy in the 100 range, by the way. Like, I really want to discuss that on this channel. I don't know why all this, like, stupidness on other channels is, like, saying this. Like, Pokemon Joey has been about this for quite some time. The whole, Shining Fates is better than prismatic. No, it's fucking not. It's just not. Like Shining Fates, as much as I love the Sword and Shield era, it is a garbage set. Shining Fates sucks ass. It's one of the worst. It's just not a good set to invest in. I don't care what anyone says. Don't buy that shit. It's like $90 an ETB. Just don't. Just pass on that garbage. Buy Prismatic instead. It's actually right now at a decent price. I think Prismatic right now is just a good pickup, man. It's a bomb ass set, and I don't understand why people are like shit talking it when it's kind of dirt cheap. I understand a lot of people are mad because you couldn't get it for MSRP, but these people that are dumping these ETBs for $100, $95, I would say grab that shit. Same with the Pokemon Center ETBs. If people are dumping them for under $250, you're going to make good money on that. I'm telling you, don't sleep on that. Don't let these other Pokemon YouTubers just feed you this bullshit. Like, Prismatic is an awesome fucking set. I don't know why people haven't woke up to this yet, but it will happen due time. But I don't think any of us want to admit it yet, but it's going to happen. Unless they just decide to print it into the ground. But another set I want to discuss is Temporal Forces. Just the booster boxes look so fucking incredible. I was looking at this the other day, and I'm like, man, Temporal Forces is an awesome looking set. I mean, I'm not saying it's the greatest investment on the planet right now, but it's still just a cool booster box to maybe get one or two of. I would still go with like Twilight Masquerade though. And I want to make this video stressing of my Scarlet and Violet era investors. If I'm doing anything, I'm buying Twilight Masquerade or the Greninja at 300. That card should be a $500 card. The Greninja is gorgeous from Twilight, man. So don't sleep on Twilight whatsoever at all. It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna be the next Fusion Strike. So yeah, don't fuck around with Twilight. It's actually a really good set to buy. Don't waste your time and grab a lot of these other dumb boxes. Twilight is probably the best Scarlet and Violet era set in my opinion. Dust and Rivals is also not a terrible pickup if you can get in the low 200s. Surging Sparks is the same way, not a terrible pickup if you get in the low 200s. But all these are not bad. We're witnessing 151 go up, but I really want to take this to like teach a lot of people that don't realize this at all, that like think, like Pokemon is just completely uninvestable and it's just stupid. I don't if you're watching these videos, you probably don't think that, but Lost Origin, man, just the ETBs. I remember telling everyone to buy these at 40 and 60. Like, I was telling so many of my friends, dude, at 60 is the lowest you're going to see these. These are now $120. And this was just like a side investment I did. Like, I just bought any of them that I found, and just threw them in the closet because I knew, Lost Origin ETBs for 60 was just a steal. And these are actually starting to become really good gainers. And, it pretty much outperformed gold in the same period. It outperformed stocks. Like one of my friends, they invested heavily into Disney, well, not even one of my friends. My dad invested heavy into Disney before he died, and it went from like 20. I think he bought in at like 20, and now it's like 113. And it's just like, but it took like 30 years, dude, to hit these marks. And it's like a set like Lost Origin literally did it in a year. You know what I mean? Like in a year, 2 years tops, it went from being like a $30-$40 ETB to being worth 120. So it goes to show that Pokemon really does outperform stocks, gold, crypto. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I know some crypto does go wild. Don't get me wrong, but still Pokemon in the long run. It's your best friend. And I think Sword and Shield era especially just is, man, because it really is just that era that like it has a certain just magicalness to it, like a certain nostalgia to it that I just don't think, that we've ever seen anything really like it in Pokemon. I mean, like the best arts you could ever want, you know, literally the best arts. And I mean, like cards like Lugia, dude. This is such an incredible card that you should not sleep on. That, like, if you don't have at least one Lugia that you've been trying to buy up, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like this is one of the best cards out of Sword and Shield, hands down. That I still think people are heavily sleeping on. Like, I would never sell mine, dude. Ever. No amount of money. Don't care. Love my Lugia. I will never sell it for any amount of cash. Ever. I don't give a fuck. It's such a beautiful card. Mostly same with like Gengar and stuff. Like, sometimes I think about selling the Gengar, but I'm telling you, like, Sword and Shield era alt arts, these in the next 5 to 10 years are going to be like, in my opinion, gold star status, man. I think eventually people are going to come around and be like, Sword and Shield was just, yeah, the pull rates sucked, but like art wise, it was just such an incredible, unique era that like we all like lived through and loved it. That it's just magical, man. And I just think Sword and Shield will just continue to do well over time, just nonstop. But like, and cards like this, like this is a $9,000 card in a PSA 10, and you can still find these. This is another good investment play I was talking about. You can still find these in the low, like high, like 100s, like 190, 170, somewhere in that. But if you can find them in any good condition raw, like, you should be picking shit up like this. Like, not all singles are bad, and I'll re-stress that again. Not all singles are bad. Okay, a lot of you may be stuck on this whole thing of just only sealed, and trust me, I like sealed the best because it's guaranteed, getting rarer. People love the fact that you can open up your packs. I mean, it's just, it is incredible. But there are also such things as very underrated singles. Like Gengar at one point, it was like $100 card raw. Lugia was another card. Like, I bought mine for $100. These are now like way more, and they should be more than they even are right now. Same with Squirtle. Like, just because this is a newer card, I still think people are sleeping on how incredible even Stellar Crown is. But, a lot of these singles will get more expensive over time, and that still happens. I think this Glaceon, if you can find these raw too, you're going to be doing good in the long, long term, just because this card's so hard to come by. Like, in my opinion, I see way less of these than I do a base set Charizard. Like, I see base set Charizards on a daily basis, but how often do you actually see a Glaceon level X for sale? I mean, how often do they just pop up on the market? I mean, they don't pop up on the market in perfect condition ever, but just to find one is incredibly hard. Like, that, my entire collecting journey, I've only ever found one, and I bought it as soon as I seen it. Like, you rarely ever see a Glaceon for sale, level X. Some of these cards are still just very good pickups in singles forms, especially when you can get them for a reasonable price where you're not paying thousands. I mean, yeah, it may not be a PSA 10, but you're still buying very rare, hard to come by cards. Those are the good singles, I think, to still pick up that are not a bad idea. Because just down the road, the chase of these cards is just impossible. But, I think this way, even with like the Sword and Shield era old arts, eventually these are going to be the next, like, sick level X cards, like where they're really expensive in a 10, or, like these will be the next, Skyridge level cards, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people may think that sounds insane, but I don't see the market ever collapsing for this stuff, no matter how much they print, no matter how much the market gets flooded with anything. I just don't think this older stuff is ever going to show any signs of getting cheaper, you know? Like, it is what it is, and I'm just reporting what I see mostly happen in the world. But, I don't care how bad people's financial situations are. I don't care if people can't afford the boxes. There are still people out there that are dying to buy any of this stuff up for the current prices because they know it's going to be more ridiculous in the next 5 to 10 years. And that factor alone, I think, will always fuel the Sword and Shield era to be incredible. That one day we will all look back and 5 to 10 years from now, and we will wish we bought as much Sword and Shield right now as we possibly could. I can almost guarantee that will be a factor. I mean, look at just Sun and Moon era. Like even Unbroken Bonds has had such an incredible come up from 300 to 500 to 1,500 to $2,000 now, and they're just so hard to come by, man. They just really are. And this isn't even like a magical era to me. Like, I don't even consider Sun and Moon like this just incredible, like nostalgic fucking flash of Pokemon. I just don't. I like Sun and Moon era a lot. I like X and Y a lot. They are great investments. But it's just like, do they have the alt arts though? Like, do they have the Gengars? You know what I mean? Do they have the Leafeon, the Glaceons, like the Umbreons? It's just like they don't, man. And I just think, the alt arts are very special, and a lot of people are still terrified to invest in some of them. But I still say go with sealed either way, just because that's what the crowd will probably realize, is that sealed's the best. But like, if you want some of these singles though, they're not going to get any cheaper, I don't think. Especially cards like the Leafeon. Like, that Leafeon is one of the best cards that if you can pick this up for 500 or less, I think you're doing incredible. I don't, no matter what anyone says. Same with the Gengar. If you can pick it up for like anything under 1,300 in a PSA 10, you're doing great. These cards are not going to be easy to get PSA 10 copies of in the next, 10 years. They're just not. The boxes will be expensive. Way too expensive to open. They won't be worth chasing. And the ones that do get pulled will be like 9s. I mean, most of them, most of Sword and Shield, half the stuff you open up, like, dude, the centering's so fucked on half the cards. It is really, really, really difficult to get PSA 10s. It's not as bad as going with vintage, because getting PSA 10s on vintage is like next to impossible. It really is. It's really tough. But still, I mean, Sword and Shield era was not a very friendly era for good centering. You know what I mean? Like, it really wasn't. But, like, we're all witnessing a bunch of these singles, though, that like Machamp V Alt Art from Astral. I had that card. It was like 80, and it just didn't go up for a while, so I kind of gave up on it. And I feel like a lot of people eventually just do that. You just give up on a single because it didn't go up a lot fast. And I still think, like, some of these singles, man, like the Venusaurs, your Drowsies, like, I still think this Drowsy is an extremely good card to pick up at the current prices. I mean, extremely. If you can find a good copy of Drowsy, man, for that 40, 50, even $60 for a really nice one, they are still a screaming pickup to me. I mean, an absolute must buy. If I see any Drowsies, I scoop them up. If anyone's selling them, I think people are stupid for selling that card so cheap that you will definitely regret it in the future. I still think IRs are a very good investment because it happens like that with age all the time. I think Greninja is going to go up a lot. Like, people slept on Greninja when it was 80, then it hit 300. Now it's like way more. Like, a lot of these cards are like that, where people just, they sleep on them, then they get older and they still just get crazy expensive. God, the Gallade. That's such a sick card. I wish I had that in a 10. In my opinion, that is some of the coolest art, too, in Pokemon. But still, it's just nothing slaps like the alt arts, in my opinion. But, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Like, what is your favorite era? But I still think, like, Sword and Shield will just hold that, like, place in people's heart of, like, it's an incredible era, Like, and we just had some of the best arts, like fucking, even like Deoxys. Like we just had so many sick bangers in Sword and Shield era that it is just nonstop packed with just crazy, alts, man. Like, in my opinion, I honestly like the look of the Lugia V alt better than a lot of the old vintage Lugia cards. I mean, I think they just knocked it out of the park. I really do. Like, I think it's just an era that Pokemon just absolutely killed it, and I think just the art in itself it says it for itself, man. It really does. Like, I don't know if any of you ever owned the Leafeon in person, but like, dude, the art on this card is absolutely fucking stunning. It just is. Same with the Glaceon. They just all look so incredible in person that I just think it's going to be a timeless set and just a timeless era that no matter what happens, you will see, all of Sword and Shield era just, continue to be like unstoppable. Like you'll continue to see Evolving Skies just blast off, man. Because it's not around. It's really not around as much as people really think it is. And that's just the truth, man. It really is. What else was I gonna break down today? Oh yeah, Chilling Rain as well. I still think, guys, like, don't fucking sleep on this advice. I have the visor on today. Chilling Rain for 400 is such a fucking buy that if you're not buying this box now and Prismatic Evolutions and wanting to get into Pokemon, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for. I mean, $400 for Chilling Rain or $100 for Prismatic ETBs, not that bad. But if you can find Prismatics at MSRP, you should definitely be buying and holding it as long as you can. But, like, these are all just screaming plays to me that I don't know what to tell you if you're not making them. The Charizard from Obsidian Flames being a $50 chase card. Like, these are all good pickups, man. They really are. Like, that Charizard out of this set is actually kind of sick. Like, I slept on it for a while, but at the $50 price point, I think they're a great pickup. I don't think you're going to lose money, and these are a lot of my good picks that if I was buying, that's what I'd be buying is, like the Squirtle from Stellar Crown, if I am buying singles, any of the alt arts, the Lugia, the Gengar, the Garatina, the Leafeon, the Glaceon, your Chilling Rain booster boxes, the Charizard from the City of Flames, the Champion's Path Charizards, the Champion's Path ETBs, the, Prismatic fucking ETBs, Pokemon Center especially. Yeah, Evolving Skies booster boxes, Evolving Skies ETBs, like these are my fire picks. That, Lost Origin booster boxes. Even Brilliant Stars. It's just these are all the best things you can do, man. I don't know any other way to tell people. Even 151 Pokemon Center ETBs. I remember buying that at $450. It's not like $525 online. I never thought that would go up, but yeah, apparently it has now. And it's just the longer you hold on to this stuff, the more harder it is to find. And that is what we're witnessing right now. But I just don't think you should sleep on the Sword and Shield era at all. I mean, it really is just a special era, man. It's a special era that I think, even myself personally, I look back at and I'm like, wow, that was just an incredible era of Pokemon. And I wish I bought a lot more. I wish I didn't take a lot of it for granted. But, what can you do? I'm glad I did buy a lot. And, get as much of it that I could. But, I still think at these current prices, anything you buy 5 years from now, you're not going to regret it anyway. So that's just my advice. Buy now, ask questions later. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We're out.